over Dennis-Horan Jr. Let's let them get back to bowling.
And Parker-Bohn working on a spare. Dennis-Horan right back in the match, and the toughest shot to throw coming out of commercial. Can Parker handle it? That would be a very much affirmative. And there's his girlfriend, Leslie Beamish, who hasn't been feeling real well of late, but she's here and feeling better and rooting Parker on.
Not feeling well, but here all day yesterday, and it was a long day on Friday, and she stuck it out, and it was a little chilly in the center, so she was bundled up, but did remain here throughout the day.
Parker-Bohn going for a double to take a 22-pin lead, and there's a huge mistake for Parker. My gosh, he cuts right through the center of the pins, leaving a 6-pin split. We'll take a look at the ball. It just hooks through the dead center of the pins, leaving an absolute mess, and Parker knows the ramifications of that big split. Very difficult to try and make this. There's a slight chance, but he needs to get the ball to hook into the 2-pin and still carry out the 9. Didn't quite get the ball far enough up. The 2-pin and the 6-pin remain, and what was a lead has now turned into a 3-pin deficit for Parker-Bohn-III.
Well, interestingly enough, Marshall, Parker only missed one spare this tournament all week long. It was the 2-4-7, the one he just left a little bit uglier than that.
Yeah. Dennis-Horan right now with the opportunity to make a 13-pin lead. And look at this. Who would have thought halfway through the last match that Dennis-Horan would even be here? Now he's up by 13, very much in the driver's seat in our championship game.
Dennis told me, Marshall, earlier in his career, he had trouble getting sponsors. So his folks sponsored him in 1994. It made $80,000, paid him back, and then sponsored himself after that. So Dennis-Horan Jr. did a heck of a job.
Yes, he did. And to all those people that had a chance at Dennis-Horan, it's a little late now. Hang on. Look at this. Dennis-Horan with 4 strikes in a row, putting a lot of pressure on Parker-Bohn. Now with a 23-pin lead. Dennis-Horan running him out, getting excited. Watch the ball. It's going to hook back hard to the right. Take a look at the 4-pin, kicks out the 7, and the reaction of a bowler who knows he's getting that much closer to one of the major titles in professional bowling. Great shot from Parker-Bohn, and he is so disappointed with the way he threw the ball on 27. Right now, Parker-Bohn, if he strikes out, Gary, he's got a chance to shoot 223. Right now, Dennis-Horan working at a 216 pace, so the match still very much in jeopardy.
You know, even though Parker was leading throughout most of the tournament this week, he told me that he did struggle quite a bit on Friday morning. Kind of looks like he's struggling once again.
Well, having a little trouble, must figure out. Lane 27 really needs this strike. And what a great shot from Parker. Cuts that lead down, and more importantly, Gary, it puts a little bit of a message, sends a message to Dennis-Horan saying that I'm still around as we take a look at Parker-Bohn. This is what he's been wanting all day. High flush in the pocket, and he knows it was a great shot.
So Dennis-Horan Jr. up by 13, and he shoots in the 9th.
Just that much closer for Dennis-Horan. Kind of breathes a sigh of relief. That ball was a little left. As you can see, he's making a motion to say, I yanked that, I pulled it, and you got away with it.
Dennis-Horan Jr., married to wife Terry. They've got 1 daughter, Courtney. She's going to be 3 in August, so this would be a nice pre-birthday present.
Well, it'll be a wonderful present for the entire Haran family. As you can see by our graphic, 5 consecutive strikes for Dennis. Needs to fill 18 pins in order to win this tournament. A strike here, it'll be it. There's your winner, Dennis-Horan. He comes back from absolutely nowhere in our last match, makes the big charge late in this match. He is going to win the Bear Touring Players Championship, and Parker-Bohn, being the good sport that he is, gives him 5. Here's your key shot. Dennis-Horan knowing what a big shot it is, and he makes a great shot. High flush in the pocket. Here's the reaction of our champion, yelling, screaming, I just won. Dennis-Horan from San Diego, his 3rd PBA title, Gary, and quite an excited man.
13 years with the PBA, Marshall, 16 Western Regional titles, but as you pointed out, just his third national title. He is one happy guy.
Just finishing it out. Now things certainly went Dennis's way today, and Parker, once again, he is a great sport. Congratulating our champion, Dennis-Horan Jr.
2:45 for Dennis-Horan Jr.
And the best Mike Albee can do right now is 2:02. I'm sorry, my mistake. That is Parker-Bohn-III. The best he can do is 2:02. I should know these guys better. I've known them for years.
And bowled against quite a few of them.
Yes, I have, and I'm happy to say that good to be up here with you, Gary. Those guys are too tough for me right now.
Well, you don't want me to start to list your number of accomplishments. They are many.
And for Parker-Bohn, we will see him again. He's a perennial television finalist on our tour, averages about 10 appearances a year, which is really phenomenal. But today he wasn't able to get it done, and unfortunate for Parker-Bohn-III. But for our champion, Dennis-Horan Jr., what seemed like the most unlikely of our top four to win the tournament, he's your champion. He is one happy man, and he's going to be throwing some souvenirs to the people here at Stonehenge Place.
And we'll take a look at the score. 2:45 for Dennis-Horan Jr., 2:02 for Parker-Bohn-III. Dennis-Horan Jr. comes out of the clouds Friday and captures it all today, his third career PBA title. And here is the reaction to his huge strike that won it all. Dennis-Horan Jr. just a tad happy.
Well, there's the winning shot. Dennis-Horan Jr. just watch the form. All the years of practice came to this one shot for Dennis-Horan. He gets it done as we take a look at another great reaction from Dennis-Horan Jr. He's the champion of the Brunswick Touring Player Championship. We'll be back in a moment with our champion.